Recorded Books and One-Click Digital present The Bible Doesn't Say That. 40 Biblical Mistranslations, Misconceptions, and Other Misunderstandings by Dr. Joel M. Hoffman. Narrated by Jonathan Todd Ross. Introduction. The Bible doesn't say that God performed miracles. The Bible doesn't say, "Thou shalt not covet," or "God so loved the world." Doesn't say that homosexuality is a sin, and hardly says anything about modern baptism or kosher food, the rapture, monogamy, or evolution. These misconceptions, and many more like them, stem from a fundamental misunderstanding about how to read the Bible, combined frequently with ignorance or ideology that leads people to misrepresent the Bible to others. An old joke asks a reporter to boil down an economist's evaluation of the economy to one word. "Good," says the reporter, accurately quoting the economist. Then, when asked to expand the economist's message to 2 words, the reporter quotes just as accurately, "Not good." The same thing happens with the Bible. People quote a word or a phrase out of context as what the Bible says. In a strict literal sense, the Bible does say what they report, but only in the way that the economist who thought the economy was failing did say, "Good." This is just one way out of many that modern readers misunderstand what the Bible says. Technically, of course, the Bible doesn't say anything. Like all other written texts, it sits there waiting to be read. But even so, most people have a sense that the point of reading a text is to figure out what's there, and the what's there part is what the text says. As it happens, a variety of intellectual movements arose last century to question even this basic premise. Researchers wondered if a text had any meaning without a reader. They asked whether the author or the reader gets to decide what a text means. They concluded that all reading is a matter of interpretation. But even so, most people have a sense of what kinds of interpretation are acceptable when it comes to figuring out what a text says. For example, on April 16, 1912, the New York Times ran the headline, "Titanic sinks 4 hours after hitting iceberg." Even though it was a headline, most people agree that the newspaper says that the Titanic sank 4 hours after it hit an iceberg. A devious reader might wonder if maybe the newspaper was vague about how long after hitting the iceberg the Titanic sank, because 4 sounds like 4, and maybe the newspaper only says that the Titanic was in the process of sinking for hours. But most people know that that's not what the Times headline says, in spite of the coincidence of 2 words that happen to sound the same. Another example comes from Shakespeare's Juliet, who laments, "O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" In this case, many modern English speakers need to learn a little bit about 17th century English to understand the poetry. The word wherefore means why, not where. The words art and thou match our modern are and you. Juliet is asking Romeo why he had to be Romeo, whom she couldn't marry, instead of someone she could marry. So most people agree that Shakespeare's Juliet asked, "Why are you Romeo?" And even if there's a stage of interpretation that converts Shakespeare's English into our own, most people agree that it's reasonable. By contrast, it would be entirely unreasonable to suggest a connection to the arts based on the word art, and even more absurd to wonder if Juliet chose the 9-letter word wherefore because she wanted to show how she felt about Romeo, and another word that has 9 letters is affection. To claim that Shakespeare's Juliet was expressing affection for Romeo with her choice of the word wherefore is to misrepresent what the text says. However, when it comes to reading the Bible, these sorts of interpretations have become standard. Words get swapped for other words that sound the same, or that have the same letters, or the same number of letters, or letters whose numerical values have some
Sample complete. Ready to continue?